We shall now go on to our next session, and I invite Dr. Gaurav Luthra has not yet come. Dr. Arvind is there. Dr. Kumar, doctor, you are there in this session only. You came in a little earlier. Dr. Kim has not come. Dr. Rupal Shah, look forward to your presence. Dr. Purendra Basin, has he come? Dr. Arul, thank you, Dr. Purendra Basin. Dr. Arul Mui Varman, have you come? Dr. Ramesh Dorairajan? Okay. So we now go on to another very interesting talk by our past president, none other than Dr. Mahipal Sachdev, who is the chairman and medical director of the Center for Sight Group of Eye Hospitals, and an amazing individual with great leadership skills, who single-mindedly thought of the 15 hospitals or more hospitals he has with him. So he is going to be telling us, assessing and anticipating changes in my external environment is a key. A very challenging topic. We look forward to hearing from you. You'll have to stick to your time of 10 minutes.
What is my time?
10 minutes.
Okay.
Because, and one last information that after this session is over, the next session, the newer leaders would be introduced. So please don't disappear for lunch, maybe go in turns, because I'll have to introduce you all. So don't lose out on that. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Chitra. It's indeed something I would say we are looking beyond ophthalmology because everyone was concentrating on clinical aspects, and I think this hall is more full than any other hall. So I think, and there are people who are leaders in themselves who are right here. I think it all boils down to your leadership skills, and also what was being said by the earlier speaker, the constant ability to change. And I think the talk that has been given to me is the ability to change. And first of all, before you change anything, you need to assess as to what is happening and how you change. And that is what COVID actually forced us to do. And there is lot many things that have changed, and I would say that they have changed for the permanent. And things are going to evolve much faster than what they were. So whenever there is a new thing, there is an external environment that caused this threat. And all of us were locked down, and there were essentially challenges that were there as to how to survive. I still remember having talked to Dr. Arvind, who is here, and to several other people. Devashish was there, as to how do we go about, because if we look at Center for Sight, we had a fixed expense of about 15 crores a month. And it wasn't really very easy for us to kind of do that, because all our properties were rented, and then you had the staff salaries and things, etc., like that. So there were these external environments that came in, and when in the external environments that came in, there were things that changed suddenly. And what changed, I would say, significantly is that there is a lot more consumerism that has come in healthcare. So what you saw was that we as brick and mortar stores were being taken over by the digital world. And if you look at it, because the world actually became flat, as is said, and it is, you have these people like, now they might be in difficult times, but there was so much of liquidity that was available, that this liquidity just poured in. And you have these, suddenly you have a Pristine coming up, or you have an M-Fine or somebody. So the environment actually underwent, I would say, a metamorphosis. And I'm sure that this is not going to change. For example, you would still have a Zomato, you will still have a delivery, and you will still have people going in. I'll just talk about omni channels that are being built. So this is the external environments that I feel, which was the consumer-led movement and the COVID-led transformation. COVID-led transformation actually meant that physical contacts had to be reduced, and the patients could not be seen the way they were being seen earlier, and that was a problem. And when you were obviously looking at less patients at that particular time, and the patient was in a digital world, the consumer, it became, the line separating healthcare from non-healthcare was getting blurred. So what is actually was expected from any other service industry was being expected from you in healthcare, and the expectations were to get great customer service and to get it in a safe environment. So those were the things that were, and to overall make the entire process easier. So whether making life easier or whether making an eye consult easier, that was the thing that was being looked at. And this was identical, as I said earlier, between healthcare and non-healthcare companies. So this is something that really happened. And I think there was a movement from the high pedestal, I would say, where the doctor was कि मैंने कह दिया तो कह दिया, like you had the Bachchan's picture, कह दिया तो कह दिया, those kind of things. So it is basically the questions were more asked, and it was more a dialogue, or it was more an expectation, which was a two-way street. So that is why I think it's a working partnership model that has evolved. Things may be going back, but I think there will be a permanent impact on those particular things that have happened. And you would be required to kind of work on situations where you have to work towards value, and that is what has happened during COVID, that people were looking at value, and volume is obviously going to be important, but value is also coming up the chain, and I think COVID has brought about this, and that is something very, very important. So the provider binary kind of a thing, that I am the provider, I am right here, and you are a consumer here, because they became spoiled for choice. So today I have a pristine saying that I will do a pickup for you from your home and get a cataract surgery done for you, and there are people who are willing to give out their OT for 6,000 rupees, and we will get you the entire hassles of TPA, etc., done for you. So this is going to be there for sure. And one particular thing is, whatever we may say, the government wants the prices of healthcare to go down. There is absolutely no confusion on that. You have the Ayushman Bharat, where a cataract surgery is what, 4, 5, 6,000. I don't remember the rate, but and you can't even charge extra for a lens, etc. So there's always a constant pressure, whether it be the TPA or any managed healthcare providers, the TPAs, etc., to keep the prices down. That is again a problem where you have to adapt. And what adaptation that we wanted to do was also to cut the costs. There is enough and more cost that you have to, actually it is not bad to get, if you are in a big organization, you get a E&Y, or you get somebody else, or a PwC, they can actually work with you and tell you that these are the costs which can come down. And they promise you, and they take an X percentage off, as to if I reduce your cost and I get you a saving, then we will take X percentage of that saving. So I will just give you an example. There is this big Medica Bazaar, that's a big company. We started working with them in COVID. Now they procure consumables for you. The only thing that I don't negotiate through them is the IOLs or maybe the anti-VEGF. But what they have done is, this is the digital transformation, that if I need to get my needles, or I need to get my syringes, or I need to get my cotton pads, or whatever it is, so I don't have the muscle power, even as center for sight, to bring down the prices. With this digital thing that has happened is that they would get you those prices, keep a 3, they are more bothered about their GMP, that means their gross product or amount that they have calculated, and that is how they are valued in the market. So they will give those products to you at only 2, 3, 4% extra. So I can actually go down to them and say that, okay, I need an ampicillin, or I need something that I don't use routinely, but that is used in small quantities. They will get it to you. So that is a digital transformation that is there. So you have to work on that particular thing, and this consumerism, or whatever you want to call that, that has come, and you need to model yourself on that. You cannot, as Kumar was asking, multitasking to do everything that is there. So there are experts in that particular thing, and you have to believe that yes, there are experts and they can do things better than you. And they will take their 2, 3%. The margins have gone down, and you can do it on that. Then there is an enhanced interaction between medical professionals and people. So this is the process that is changed, which is absolutely, as I said, that a provider-patient binary thing is changing, and you have an interaction because of the digital thing, people being on net, etc., and the patients are going to lead you. They are going to demand, and they are going to lead you as regards that you can be the managers of our health and eye health. So I think there is something which my next slide will talk about, that you have to become, or what we are trying to do is that there has to be an omni-channel that has to be established. It should be a one-stop shop that you are looking at, and that's what COVID has done in things which are there. So if you look, I think this was a traditional patient journey. So you have a patient who takes an appointment. Earlier it was a physical appointment. Then it became kind of an online appointment, and you still, most of us don't have apps, but I think it's going to be an app driven appointment that you need to do that. A patient would come to the hospital, go to the front office, do an initial workup, do consults, etc., follow up, pharmacy, optical investigation. Now, at least in my centers, it takes about, I think Arvind is a great example where they do a very massive time motion analysis. It's a difficult science and art to master, but still a person would take anywhere between 2 to 3 hours to get out for a preliminary examination, which is not what a patient wants, because the patient is working, a patient himself may be working, or his sons or daughters-in-law, etc., they would be working, so they don't want. So this was a traditional patient journey, and this is a new component. So if you look at companies that are coming up, so you can look. Ping. Ping is a company in China. Now Ping has it's a multi-billion-dollar company today listed. Now they have cut down all this into this. That means a patient takes an online appointment. You pre-fill your data. You're not going to sit with the optometrist or anybody to write your history, etc. कि मैं पूछ रहा हूँ कब से आपकी आँख लाल है, etc., etc. That is already pre-filled. And even the virtual way of doing an eye exam, in the sense of doing a vision testing, etc., that can also be done. So there is X amount of thing which is taken off from this entire convoluted journey that we are going to do. Obviously it's going to take a little time, but that has been perfected to a large extent in China. So what they have found is that the actual consult with a doctor, which you can also think back and say, I don't spend more than 60 seconds to 120 seconds with a patient, frankly. That's because the patient comes to me worked up, the optom has done something, my junior consultant has done something, prescription, etc. I say, ठीक है यार, most of my patients are cataract karana, LASIK karana, those kind of things. So you get it done. But the point is that this entire journey, how can you short circuit it? That's what COVID has taught us. And that is how things are going to change. That what they have said is that the actual time that a patient is spending, which is useful, would be only 10% of the total time that you are spending today in today's hospital. So this is how things are going to move. There is going to be a lot of artificial intelligence. Even yesterday night at 11:30 or 12, I got a mail from somebody for an investment of 5 million US. So they are looking at opening 200 kiosks for doing refraction and virtual try on in malls, etc., for your spectacles. So the things are changing so very much that you are wanting to cut the long waiting time. Multiple health personnel that are involved can be dramatically reduced. So your cost come down, your time being spent in the hospital comes down, the patient satisfaction increases. That is something very, very important. And obviously this started when you were looking at crowding. दो गज का फासला and whatever those kind of things when you are looking. So obviously you okay, I'm done. So the government would come and take a complaint कि भाई आपके यहाँ पे crowding है, हमारी fine लग रहा है या whatever it is, those kind of things. So you looked at it, and fear of infection was very, very high in older population. That's why your cataract suddenly went down. So finally, what I would wish to say is that there is a transformation which we have tried to do to some extent. Obviously, the will has to be there to continuously do that, but this is how things are going to be driven. And this is, if you look at, say, today a pharmacy or a 1mg, etc., buying a diagnostic chain, etc., or delivery of medicine, all this is going to be an omni-channel. There is going to be a lot of consolidation. And if you see that the number of private equity deals in eye care is the maximum, over the last 5 years, there have been 27 private equity infusions in ophthalmology. And you just now have $1,000, 1,000 crore investment that's likely to happen in one of the groups, and another investment that has happened in one of the groups. Money has poured in significantly, and that is going to lead to consolidation. That is going to lead to digitization, because you have to spend a lot of money on that. That's going to lead to artificial intelligence. You will not be required to be looking at diabetic retinopathy. A person can go to a kiosk in a mall, and it will be through artificial intelligence being told that you have X diabetic retinopathy with CMA, etc. So you have to digitize, you have to, and that's the things that are happening, and you have to adopt an omni-channel approach. आपको दवाई भी देनी है पेशेंट को, आपको चश्मा भी देना है, आपको सर्जरी भी करनी है, एवरीथिंग, एंड यू नीड टू कंसोलिडेट इन द बेयर मिनिमम टाइम. सो आई थिंक दैट इज समथिंग that is there. So I would say you have to marry your brick and mortar stores that you have, or your brick and mortar hospitals that you have, create a virtual patient experience which would include e-commerce, which could include telehealth, tele-retail, virtual try-ons for your spectacles, etc. Web diary, you could have chats, you could have patients talking, you do catalog websites and digital marketing. The era for newspaper advertising, etc., is almost gone. It's dead and buried. It's digital marketing which is there, because that has the maximum mind space. Everyone has these phones, and today only I read that there are 50% of the adult males in India do that, and 33% of women do that. So I think this is something that's changing, and that is what we are looking at. Web-based refraction is going to be the future. I'm sure that's going to help. Mobile health apps, vision screening, peak study, K-site, these are all the things that I told you about diabetic retinopathy, but ultimately consolidation and expansion so that you have a global footprint, if not a global footprint, but a pan-state or a pan-India footprint. That's something that I think has been taught to me from COVID. So thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mahipal, for throwing insight into what are the changes which are going to happen. I have one question for you, and then Rupal would ask, and Kumar. But we have to go on to our next session. What is the singular area where you would wonder whether you could have done better?
Speed of transformation.
Huh? Speed of transformation.
Speed at which and focus, it's very difficult to get people like, for example, I'm trying to set up my e-commerce website. The salary that people get is almost doubled. So it's very difficult to retain them. So I think the speed at which we had and the focus that we needed to do, that's something that we need to look at. We are also experimenting in marrying opticals with ophthalmology. And that could be your, so we've opened in that CFS Vision stores about a dozen of them or 14 of them, where there will be a doctor who will be sitting to try and differentiate. But I think the speed at which we are able to do that I could have done better, and getting more brain power as regards a different set of this thing. That's not just ophthalmology, but getting a brain set of people who can help you digitize, who can help you transform, who can get you IT, AI, etc. Those are the things which I thought I could have done a little faster. That was an opportunity. And the second opportunity that I think I could have done better was that I had put my expansion on halt, which was the best time to expand, I think.
I have a question. You said 27 companies have infused funds into ophthalmology over 5 years. Tell me statistics in the world. Is this happening only in India or is it happening worldwide?
Globally. There are a lot of practices that are, see, you can see the consolidation, and Essilor has bought over Luxottica. You never thought that a Luxottica, which was the biggest in the frames, and an Essilor, which has, so they just married, so it's Essilor Luxottica. So I think consolidation, it's global. Ayer is the biggest listed. You have, what is this guy's name? China mein, Seamer. So they are Singapore also. There is a list. There are a couple of listed companies. So things are pretty much. Money plays an important role, Kumar. You cannot underestimate.
Dr. Mahipal,
Complete healthcare industry has.
Healthcare is getting a lot of investment, and I feel with the tech boom coming down slightly, healthcare would be the darling of investors over the next 1 or 2 years, because this tech is just coming down.
It has been observed that healthcare is not affected by any calamity or anything. It will persist.
Yes.
So that's why healthcare has taken a lead in after this computer science and.
See, Kumar, you have to look at the breed of investors. The breed of investors that is coming today is TPG, a General Atlantic going to invest in GA. You have TA, so you have Blackstone looking at Carlyle. So the breed of investors is totally different. I don't know how many of you understand that, but the breed of investors has gone down from this level to this level, and they can move. They can move things. Basically, they can invest and keep on. They may not be a soft bank, but they're just a shade below them.
Thank you very much.
A very basic question. What do you see the future of a young ophthalmologist wanting to go into private practice?
No, he
Do
will
you
need
think
1
there
hour
is
to
no-
talk on that. We
No,
have
do
to
you
let.
think there is no future for such?
It's not a question of future, Rupal. The issue is that you could open your practice with a torch. maybe 20, 30 years ago, or with a slit lamp, and go to somebody's house and do a cataract surgery maybe 40 years ago, or railway stations with surgery hote, things have evolved. The barrier to entry has gone up. So why does a neurosurgeon want to start his own practice? Does every neurosurgeon start his own practice? Does a cardiac surgeon start his own practice? Does even an orthopedic surgeon start his own practice? No. Because the barrier to entry was very low, that is why anybody thought that I will start my own practice. And it is going to be terribly more difficult for a younger ophthalmologist. They should change their mindset. Who was getting, they used to get 40,000, 50,000. Today they get 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs, 5 lakhs. What is the problem? Why the hell do you want to get into the head business hassles and get haggled down like me? So the point is that the issue is very clear that आप अपना काम करिए, you are getting good salaries, you are getting salaries comparable to a Middle East or even a UK etc. 4-5 लाख रुपए आप पहले बाहर जाते थे, आपको क्या जरूरत है? ये mindset
No,
क्या है?
Rupal, no.
Salary is not
No,
the only
Rupal.
thing that people look
No,
at.
no, Rupal, this
The
is a
skill
long
set is
discussion. We are
there.
really running
Rupal,
late.
the skill set is
We are running
there
1
and
hour
the
late.
job satisfaction is there. You are getting to cut. What else do you want? Somebody else is collecting the patients for you
no.
and you are getting to cut. What is the problem? That it's
No,
not
that-
necessary for a practice for anybody who has finished his MS to go and set out his own practice.
No, you can't sell this, Dr. Mahipal. Thank you. Thank you. You can't. So, you introduce Dr. Purendra Basi. I'm leaving my things on.
Thank you, Dr. Mahipal sir, for that wonderful talk. The next speaker will be Dr. Purendra Bhasin. He will be speaking on assessing and upgrading my internal performance is vital. Dr. Purendra Bhasin sir. Thank you, Dr. Sinha, and thank you, ARC, Dr. Chitra, for giving me this opportunity to be in front of you. Dr. Mahipal has vitally and informed us about, can I have full screen? About the how we can reach to the masses, and this is how we have to assess ourselves and to upgrade ourselves, what we do and how we are doing it. I am from Gwalior, and I do a practice of multi-speciality also. Actually, here I am not able to see. Assessing and upgrading my internal audio visual. Can you help, please? Vital. So here I am not able to see. This is not moving here. I have to look at. So healthcare per se is a complex subject. We all know there are higher volumes, high varieties are there, and we have to work with the speed. Highly regulated, and we have to be within regulations also, and there are high costs involved, and high stress as well as high turnover. Other challenges are also equally important, and rather more important, that breakdowns, service breakdowns, wasteful processes, they come into play, and there are many issues like medical errors. So we have to, this is not moving. Duplicate. Done. Sorry for this pause. So we have to, I think this is fine. So we have to look into what so we have to focus on ourselves on the service excellence, and that is the key point of your being successful, because a lot of things are associated when you are giving excellent in your performance, in your results are given in a better way than your competitors are. So delivering what is promised is one part of this service excellence. Then service excellence yield enhanced organization's results. Service excellence is becoming a significant advantage, and we have to be different from others. Lot of studies have said that businesses can grow revenue between 4 to 8% above or higher their market when they prioritize better customer service experience. So 10 investing in new customers is 10 to 25% expensive than to retain their old customers. Or so customer loyalty or our patient loyalty is very, very important. So those who are coming to us, people work hard, as Dr. Maipal has said, to bring the patients to you. But what we want is we should also have important this thing to give and to retain your the loyal customers, loyal patients and their families. It is 70% of the customer's journey is based on how the customer feels they are being treated. So that treatment inside your clinic, that should be modified, that should be changed. 90% of our customer rate an immediate response. Once they comes inside the environment, that ambience, that satisfaction, that homeliness and the comfort level which they are associated with your staff, that should be, you have to greet the customer, you have to welcome, you have to groom your staff in a way. And 5.73% of the customers fall in love with the brand and remain loyal because of friendly customer service rep. Consumers are willing to spend 17% more on a company that has outstanding customer services. So this is what is has to be kept in mind. So we have to invest on patient satisfaction or customer satisfaction than on anything else. And on the downside, it is the cost of poor customer service is it takes a customer 12 positive experiences to redeem one unresolved negative experience. So this is very, very important to be kept in mind, that we should have almost 100%, which is not possible in all our cases, and we should have less number of poor compliance of the patient. Patient care is the of the utmost important. Key processes of operations manager, nursing supervisor has to be monitored and they have to be trained. We should have a good housekeeping team, staff grooming, service signature, supervision, morning and evening rounds every time, monitor and act upon on NPS score, and capture and display positive feedback, maintenance, operation manager, R&M's resources. All these should be in place and we should monitor them. So, we should highlight on many things, and important thing is the role of EMR. So all of us should have a EMR, which is now I think everybody has given this important, because electronic medical record system gives us lot of analysis also. So there are definitely many advantages and some disadvantages, that you cannot change the process of the case report when it is required in some cases. And we have to analyze the data. One second. So other things which have to be taken care into consideration is the operational assessment, like how is their outpatient footfall, location from where the patients are coming, we have to analyze that, age of the patient, medical history. We should look at the workflow management, interdepartmental coordination, whether it is proper or not. And if any snag is there, that will delay the patient workup, and waiting time and turnaround time of the patient will increase. And that is the most important cause of the patient.
First floor पे.
How much in IPD conversion is there from the OPD, and we should have a patient feedback system the best system now is to use the Net Promoter Score, NPS system. So outpatient matrix is very important. Right patient mix, like from where OPD is coming, from which area, that should be analyzed and seen which are our weaker areas, from where we should do a marketing strategies and where we should strengthen. What is the age mix of our patient? And pre-existing disease helps to assess future growth of the patient. And so this is the right kind of patient mix which we all should have, that our maximum number of patients should be elderly age group in our ophthalmology practice, which should be more than 45 age group, and 55% of the patients should be from this age group, and from 18 to 45, 30%, and around 15% of the patients should be of a pediatric age group less than 18 years. Workflow management is also equally important, whether it is properly working. We all know that how we work is we have a registration billing area, then we send the patient to AR, NCT, refraction room, consultation room, counseling, OT, and all these places, they go later. So all these places, our focus should be that the waiting time should be less. Patient should have less waiting time at these places, and how to reduce them, what to do, this has to be analyzed, and efficient team should be there to monitor this. So the most important reason for dissatisfaction is the long waiting time, as has been said by my previous speaker also. The causes of long waiting time are whether the doctor has arrived late, whether there is a long search for files, large number of patients, doctors taking too long for the patients, and when there is no response, and many others are there. So focusing on service excellence is when our performance is better than the expectation of the patient, patient will be going as a delighted patient. When our performance is equal to the patient's expectation, patient will be satisfied. But our performance is less than expectation, and that this follows for non-clinical and clinical part both, in the patient waiting area as well as in clinical part also, whether the patient has got the desired results, desired outcome out of surgery or out of the medical management. So if the performance is less than the expectation, the patient will have this patient will be unsatisfied. So other thing is that as per international standard conversion, rate of above 70% is considered as ideal. But that is really a challenge. It is not possible that out of 100 surgeries you have advised, 70% you will be able to convert. So that should be realistic. And even if it is 50%, because many patients, they come after 1 year, after 2 years when you have advised. So you cannot have track of these patients. So 50% of the patient, if you are able to convert into the surgeries and you are able to do them, I think that is better. This assessment helps us to identify patients' loyalty towards doctors and operational efficacy. There should be a robust feedback mechanism, and now we follow the Net Promoter Score. Net Promoter Score is, we take the into consideration from 1 to 10. From 1 to 6 is that patient is not fully satisfied, not satisfied at all. And from 9 to 10 are that the patients are fully satisfied. So NPS score is calculated as the percentage of promoters minus percentage of detractors. So it is not a fixed unit that 50% or 60% of the NPS score is good for your practice and it is good for some other's practice. It depends on individual and your practice, but you have to increase this score from what you are having at the moment. So that is what it means. So this comes like in this particular example, there are total 345 patients as on right side. So promoters are 61.5% and detractors are 11.6%. So the NPS score is 50. So if your NPS score today is 50, you want to build it further. So this will help us. If you make it 55 or 60 with time, this means that your patients are going satisfied and you are going on a right track. So your internal performance is what is very, very important thing to build up your practice and to sustain your practice. If you are going to get patients from Pristine or Practo or some other agencies, and if you are not build your practice inside, then you are not going to have a long-term result and you are not going to survive for long, because this practice is dependent on others. And these companies or outsourced companies, they will not give you that much of profit what you are going to do it when you are going to have your own practice and your own patient setup. So with this, I thank you, and we have to upgrade ourselves with time also. And this upgradation has to be in the form of changing the environment with time, inside environment, grooming the staff, training the staff, as well as in the form of developing and incorporating more equipments to build your practice. If you are not having a refractive practice as of now, you go and expand into, analyze the things and expand into refractive practice. If you are not having the good or higher end phaco machine, you should invest in that. So upgradation with time is very, very crucial and very important. And this is in the form of development, in the form of grooming your internal environment as well as equipments. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Purendra. That was a wonderful presentation. I'll come to the expert panel, but before that, I would like to ask you, of all the things that you have mentioned in your presentation, which was that one thing over your many years of experience that you felt that this thing which I incorporated into my practice contributed most to the patient satisfaction? Question number one. And two, this is one thing that I did that really didn't contribute to my hospital development or satisfaction.
That's a really wonderful question. The bottom line, what I feel is the development of the excellence in your practice. So that is what is the most important things. You, whatever the patient is expecting, for which the patient has come to you, if you are able to deliver that in almost 100% of the time, that is the most important thing, because service excellence is only one thing which is very, very crucial and important. And on the other side, on the downside, what you said, what is the least thing? So we should not go for the market along with the market trend. Like we should look at the trend which is going on and observe it. Something like femtocataract surgery. We should not straight away. It was very fanciful thing when it came. It was a big in thing when it was said. Many kind of lenses are there. So all these new things, when they come, you should not be carried away with that. You should always take your time, analyze yourself, because that is not the way to work. And every place has got its own way of doing it. Every city, every place, every practice has, every state has got its own this thing, pulse. You have to judge that pulse and see whether it is going to be effective in your place. Then only you enter into it.
Kumar sir, you would say 6, and 6 is the most important thing, or it starts right from the receptionist to the operating room, or if I deliver every time 6 by 6, I'll anyway have a lot of patients. So what happens in between may not be so.
No, I don't think so. I mean, that's history. It was good 20 years back, and I don't think so. That will survive. Actually, if you have a bad bathroom and patient 6 by 6, he may still not come back.
Can I just
So
add
it's as
something?
simple as
Yes, ma'am.
What happens over a period of time is that once you start becoming more and more senior, you don't have time to look at all these small things which actually matter a lot. So I think it's a good idea in a week to take one evening or one afternoon off to sit back and look at all these things and guide your people to do it correctly. Because otherwise it just builds up over a period of time, and then you'll find that more and more people, and now people are very vocal. They go to your Google review page and write, and one negative comment really makes a big difference to the entire credibility of that place. So I think it's a good idea to take one afternoon or evening off and gather your staff and teach them into whatever is not going right, rather than just going in the flow and keep doing things that are going on and on and on, and accumulating on the problems that are getting formed more and more.
Another one comment I want to make before Partha joins is a lot of difference in practice styles in South India, North India, and Western India.
Yes.
In South India, it is institutional based practices. So people won't know the doctor there. If you ask them, where did you go? They will say, I went on Monday afternoon to Shankar Netral at 3 o'clock. In Western India, it is still individual based practices. So you are still walking into clinics where they know a doctor individually. Now, Mahipal has cracked this formula in North India to some extent and made a center. And somehow in Western India, we have not been able to crack this. And now with Pristine and all other... Now, if you look at the US, it is insurance companies buying
Which defines.
so many practices out and then directing the doctor to do what. So I would ask Arvind sir, what is his thought process of insurance companies directing corporates to do what? And what does he think that is Pristine going to survive? Because according to Mahipal, it's come for good and it's going to survive. So your comments on that, Partha can set it up.
Thank you, Dr. Purendra Bisan, for that wonderful presentation. I think, the jury is still out, and people like Pristine, we are yet to see how it works. I think where they have done very well is this one-time intervention. They have done very well in cosmetology, they have done very reasonably well in ophthalmology. But the power is shifting, obviously, from the provider of care to the consolidator of care. So it is, I think we all have to be aware of this shift. We all have to be conscious of it, because till it is part of the medical fraternity, then we have control over what is being done. If it goes beyond the medical fraternity, Pristine is beyond the medical fraternity,
Which it
then
has.
your destiny is in someone else's hands. I don't know whether they'll be successful or not, but I wish we all stand together and try to keep our consolidation. What is the word I'm searching for? Is to be consolidated, or have that togetherness, so that we keep the profession to the fraternity.
I think that is the way to go. My personal perception of all these companies, new companies like Precto, Pristine and all this, it is something like what we used to have earlier also, still we have CGHS, ECHS, ESI. What they are doing? They are giving peanuts, 20-30% of what we are charging, and still there is a long queue for them to get empaneled with them. So they are also, and they have not increased after so much of hue and cry from everyone that they are not giving us so much of payment, but still many doctors, many hospitals.
Jignesh sir, your thoughts?
Main is overall patient satisfaction. If you really want to see how you are doing, is overall not just 6x6, 10x6, but all the nitty-gritty is what Dr. Rupal also said. I echo her thoughts. In addition, what we have to see is have a feedback form for each and every patient regarding all the services that is available in your hospital, and have a grading system on that, and then try and review it every week or every 1 month to upgrade fine-tune yourself in such a way that you excel in your own self. That is going to go a long way to help each and everybody. As we have the LDP inductees here, and a go-home message would be, go and see that overall patient satisfaction is looked after. That is how it is.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Purendra, sir. Our next speaker will be Dr. Partha Biswas, Chairman, Scientific Committee, All India Ophthalmic Society. And he will be speaking on my strategy for competitive positioning. Dr. Partha Biswas needs no introduction. However, it's customary. He is the director of Netralayam and BBI Foundation in Kolkata, and he has held several posts in All India Ophthalmic Society. Dr. Partha Biswas, sir.
Thank you very much, Satyajit. And I hope all of you are well settled in this beautiful, beautiful location, in the beautiful conference venue which the LOC has given us. There are going to be many glitches. There are going to be many hardships. The blame has to be taken by someone. I have to take the blame for anything that goes wrong. the whole team, scientific committee team, the LOC team, and everyone has worked extremely hard to bring about a scientific program that you're going to have for the next 4 days. Anything going wrong, please call, and we'll try our best to sort it out for you. What a difficult subject Dr. Chitra has given me. My strategy for competitive positioning. You know, I grew up as a very small practitioner. I grew up in my first days were in a very beautiful place called Virayatan, Rajgiri. Beautiful hills all around and a 100-bedded eye hospital in a garden of roses. That, I think, was the biggest turn for a competitive positioning. How many of you have a garden of roses in a 100-bedded eye hospital? So this, I think, should be one thought, that what can I give extra to my patient that the others cannot provide. So this, but again, the positioning was made alive when I went to Aravind Eye Hospital in Madurai, and I could understand that why Aravind is Aravind, why other hospitals do not have the same amount of huge sense of the foresight as Aravind. And I spent for that tenure 3 months. And in those 3 months, my whole thought process went back, turned 360 degrees, and when I came back to Rajgiri, everything that I think I could have changed, I did change. And it was a very, very supportive team that we had in the administration, and I could do so many things and make a profit of where we had a total charitable eye hospital. So what are we positioning us for? So we have to think of every element where you can give to the community what they require. What is the position is what is determined by where you are, whom you're treating, and how you're approaching. What are you targeting? All these things are all there in the back of our minds as practitioners, but we never realize it. So the market analysis, as you know, when it comes on to the view and perception of hospital administrators, it can be very different. If it is a hospital administrator with a medical background, and if it is a hospital administrator with a non-medical background. And there is a big difference. And there comes in tussles of thought processes, what a doctor thinks his hospital should be, and what an administrator thinks his hospital should be. So, but a market analysis is important, and where these two can come in is this front. A doctor must realize the treating of iritis or cataract is not the only motto for the growth of the hospital. And the administrator should also realize that it is fulfilling that need of the patient, right from the mental to the psychological to the impact that a doctor can give, is most important. And if these two things can come in, that hospital is going to flourish. There's always fulfillment of need. They have to be lacunae. These have to be taken up. And what Satyajit said and what Arvind said very correctly, that you have to take it up in that strategy, you have to take it up in that concept. Because for every hospital, there's a scope for improvement. Patient presentation, every hospital would have different sets of patients who would be presenting. If you want to make it a referral hospital, it has to have that edge over the other hospitals which are there. So that is how you have to locate it, and that is how you have to charge, and that is how the potential also should be. The location is very important. If you want your hospital to flourish, it has to be in a location where it is accessible. If you have a large volume of rural or semi-urban patients, you have to locate it near a bus stand or near the railway station. And that is how one big hospital, one big chain of hospital in Calcutta has located. It is Disha. Dr. Devashish Bhattacharya always will pick a location which is either next to the railway station or next to a large bus stand, because he caters to that population which need this transport facility, and that's how it is. Charges. Every hospital should have its own thought process on the charges. It is not that you're just plummeting down your charge just because the neighboring hospital has X amount of charge and you're charging X by 2. That is not the rule. X by 2 for the car, the class which comes in by car would mean kuch gadbad hai. There's something wrong in that X by 2 fees. Why X by 2? That's also a swanky place. This one is also. But why are they taking X by 2? So the thought process has to be there. That is not competitive strategy. So the charges have to be such that it is a dignified charge for the dignity of that patient. Now look at this. So the optometrist thinks, optimist thinks the glass is half full, the pessimist half empty, and of course the marketing consultant will tell you the glass needs resizing. So that's how things are. We doctors don't understand too much of this, but we need to. So patient requirement, a patient analysis is important. Patient expectation, as was very correctly said by Dr. Rupal, the washrooms, that is one very important aspect, that a patient says ki that place has a good washroom. It has nothing to do with the boss who is doing a femtosecond cataract surgery, but it has everything to do with the satisfaction of that patient. He will talk about the washroom, but he'll not talk about how good my 6/6 vision is. So, you know, this is the patient's perception. We have to think from the mind of the patient. Affordability is very important. I'm sure Arvind wouldn't like to place a femtosecond laser in Theni, but he would do it he has done it in Madurai and in Pondicherry and Coimbatore. So the affordability of the class that you're wanting to treat should be very, very much attuned to what you're going to spend. At times, we as doctors, we dream, yes, I have to be Kumar doctor, I have to have this and that and everything. But Kumar doctor is in that position, in that location. Not all of us can do, even though we might have that wealth, because that femtosecond laser machine must earn for itself. The requirements of the patient for medical environment treatment, customer interface, this we don't understand so much, but expectations of patients, very important. Getting an ease of appointment, and therefore the importance of the website is so important. Getting an appointment at any time of the day or night through the website is very important. Greeting. One thing that we understood is that a patient needs that attention. Let us remember a hall packed with patient, and the doctor is doing a very fast job. He's a very busy practitioner, that's a very busy hospital, but every patient is getting fidgety. When is my time going to come? I've been here for 2 hours and 3 hours. Very, very normal conversation that goes on. And then someone says, I have a small baby at home and I don't have any more time. I have to have my refund. Immediately, there's a rush and the executives come in, the doctor comes in, sorry sir, we'll just take you in. But why did that situation arise? It just arose because the front desk of the operation or the ease of navigating patients was not there. So hygiene, waiting time, waiting area, approachability. People will wait 2 hours, will not wait 2 hours, will be actually seen by the optometrist, and then Shermas would be done, and then biometry would be done, and everything would be done, and there would be all investigations in place. But they'll say, I have had to wait 2 hours to come into your chamber. So the coming into the chamber is the main objective. But when the optometrist is seeing the patient, he has to say, I'm going to do so many tests for you. I'm going to do a slit line examination. I'm going to do a Shermas and this and that. And then we will dilate, and then doctor will see you at this time. If he understands that, then he is comfortably waiting for the surgeon to give that 5 minutes of time of that 2 hours of the waiting period. Patients' affordability is very important. Insurance aid, the in-house investigation charges, hospital charges, doctor's charges, everything comes in when you are wanting to be competitive in your positioning. Again, the location, we have spoken about all this, the financial pinch, the round-the-clock availability, surgeries that others are not performing. That is another one aspect that definitely gives you a position and edge. If you have if you are in a district town and you're doing a great cataract practice, but your colleague from the city is coming in to give retina services and you have a retina setup. So even if it is once a week, even if it is medical retina setup, this gives an edge. So other subspecialties have to be in link with the services that you're providing and understanding the organization's resource base. You have to know that this is what I aim for, this much and not more, or am I aiming for growth and growth and growth and many, many hospitals. So the aim and objective of every practitioner, every hospital has to be in place. So data-driven development is one thing that we do not do, but we should do, all of us, and better patient tracking, identification of the needs, investment of the demand of driven medicine, the cost reduction, and real-time care and follow-up. Everything, if it is data-driven, you have proper statistics to tell you where you are wasting, where you're not wasting, and where you can actually save costs. Team building as another great thing. Strength and weaknesses, let us build on them. The innovation factor, do something. Just let us remember that garden of roses. You might not be able to have a garden of roses, but you can have potted plants. Even if you cannot have potted plants, you can have artificial, nice floral arrangements, and that also brings in something that is an extra thing. Competing through superior service and customer relationship, these aspects are very important. But if it is a large formula like this, the most important thing is, can't I just be nice? That is very, very important. If there is a person nice in the reception, if it is a nice optometrist, if it is a nice doctor, most of the problems get settled. Evaluation and re-evaluation, of course, these are important. Audits are very important. Complaint box, reviews, listening to patients. But what is important is improvise and improve, and be content, but never stop improving yourself. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.
Thank you so much, sir.
Chitra didn't even listen to me, and she's clapping for me.
I'm
not going to give another hall, Dr. Chitra.
No, there are certain presumptions made that some people must be giving good talks. So you clap.
She's being nice.
Dr. Partha, I had one question. You are sharing all the management points with us, but you were in Rajgir and then you built your way up. None of this so-called gyan, if you can call it, nobody gave it to you or shared it to you at that point of time. Still, you rose from where you were to where you are.
Arvind, stop. Arvind, stop. This answer I have to give, and you have to be present. 1 minute.
No, he has not had his lunch, I think.
I have not had mine. So Chitra, with her whole lunch, is concerned about everybody else's lunch, but Chairman Scientific Committee doesn't fall in the purview.
What is good? He's in a court-martial mode whenever he sees me.
That's what I wanted to say. This is not a court-martial.
Very difficult with him.
They are both batchmates from Patna Medical College Hospital. They did MBBS together.
And the moderator is also from Patna. Satyajit, ask the question.
So without all this, that knowledge that you are sharing today, you have reached the pinnacle of ophthalmology work and professionally and socially. So what would you like to share of even without all those gyan, you are where you are, and now you are sharing all this.
Yeah. So this is very important. I thank Satyajit for asking this very basic question. See, I'm going to look at eye to all our youngsters over there. Nandini is already laughing and smiling, because this is something that I think is the most important thing. Wherever you are, at whatever stage you are, with whatever limitations you are, you must visit some hospitals in India. One, I would say, is Aravind Eye Hospital. Any of the branches, possibly Theni would be the best for somebody who's practicing in the district. Shankar Netralaya, any of the branches, whichever you can, 1 day's observership, 2 days observership, LV Prasad Eye Hospital, RP Center, Sadhguru. These are hospitals that you must visit. There are many more, but these are hospitals at that state of mind where you're receptive. You will see so many small details that you would never have imagined. I'm going to talk about one small detail and end it here. That is, when I went to Aravind, I saw how they tied the bandages on the eye. I came back, and the roll of bandage that we used to use in Viratan was cut into 3, and that same bandage roll went into 3 patients. And I deduced how much we are saving for Viratan Rajgiri. And my administrators were very happy. So, these small things you will pick up only if you see. Otherwise, you will not pick up. And all these hospitals are there to give you observerships. Just watch. So this itself is going to be a big learning for every one of you. All my
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Partha, for being with us in your very busy schedule. Thanks a lot.